This is the Radio 1 News Update for October 29th. I'm Lady Miriam. In local news, Phnom Penh's iconic white building is to be torn down and replaced with a 21-story multi-purpose tower. The top 12 floors of the new building will be set aside to sell privately. 3 of the first 9 floors will be reserved for car parking, and 5 floors will be accommodation for existing white building residents, with the floor space of each resident increased by 10%. 1 floor will be set aside for commercial units. Just 7 people have been recommended for pardons by a government committee that finished assessing some 560 applications for early release ahead of November's Water Festival, a dramatic reduction from the 106 to receive clemency last year. Tourism Minister Thong Khon has requested that Phnom Penh City Governor Pa Sotchitmong consider closing Sisawat Quay, the road that runs along the capital's riverside from Wat Phnom to the Royal Palace, on Saturday and Sunday evenings to better accommodate tourists. The minister suggested closing that stretch of the road from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., but stressed it was just a request and it would be up to Sotchitmong to do it or not. Once they receive the official request, city officials will meet with ministry officials to discuss what benefits they would see and whether public parking would be needed. And as a side note, yes, it is Sisawat Quay, not Sisawat Quay. Quay is a waterfront, such as Key Largo, spelled K-E-Y, but the French spelling, Q-U-A-Y, is still pronounced the same. Sisawat Quay. Alrighty, 8 paratroopers from the elite 911 Airborne Brigade will theatrically descend into the middle of Olympic Stadium, forming the centerpiece of the opening ceremony for the country's first ever national games. They will be hoping not to repeat a disastrous Wednesday practice run. Amid peak hour traffic, about 6 p.m., poor wind conditions pushed a number of the jumpers off course, with one landing on a major boulevard by the stadium and another ending up helplessly suspended from a lamppost by his parachute for 15 minutes. Of course, you can find plenty of video on Facebook about that. In regional news, President Xi Jinping of China came out of a Communist Party conclave significantly strengthened when he was formally elevated to the status of core leader. The term suggests Xi has already joined the same revered league as Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping before a big shakeup in the party's top ranks next year. The quiet afternoon coffee date 9 months ago at an upscale Jakarta cafe ended when Wayan Myrna Salahin, after one sip of her iced Vietnamese coffee, suddenly collapsed. Hours later, she was dead. An autopsy on the 27-year-old woman's body found that she had died of cyanide poisoning. On Wednesday, a court in Indonesia ruled that her coffee companion, Jessica Kumalo Wongso, killed her friend by spiking the drink. The verdict in what has been called the coffee murder case was read on live television. TV1, a private national broadcaster, showed every minute of the trial, which gripped Indonesia as well as Australia, where the women attended college together. The foul-mouthed Philippine president, who once called the Pope a, quote, son of a bitch, and told Barack Obama to, quote, go to hell, says he has promised God he won't spew expletives again. President Rodrigo Duterte's profanities have become a trademark of his political persona, especially when threatening to kill drug dealers as part of his war on illegal drugs that has left thousands dead since he took office at the end of June. So we'll have to see how long he can keep this vow of no cussing. In international news, scores of children were left with nowhere to go as French riot police gathered outside a refugee camp in Calais. Officials had pledged to close the camp, known as the Jungle, and resettle all of the remaining migrants. But aid workers said hundreds of unaccompanied children remained unregistered, and with the camp closing, some faced possibly sleeping outdoors for a second night in a row. Police have removed protesters from land owned by pipeline company Energy Transfer Partners in North Dakota. The county sheriff says several people were arrested. News reports say officers used pepper spray against the protesters, but no serious injuries were reported. Members of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe and their supporters have been protesting the pipeline since it was approved by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers over the summer. They are specifically trying to block the portion that is slated to run under the Missouri River near the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. The tribe opposes the pipeline because they say the route crosses sacred sites and burial places, and they are concerned that if the pipeline ruptures, an oil spill could pollute drinking water. The countries that decide the fate of Antarctica reached an historic agreement to create the world's largest marine protected area in the ocean next to the frozen continent. The agreement comes after years of diplomatic wrangling and high-level talks between the US and Russia, which had rejected the idea in the past. Proponents of the reserve say it sets a precedent for multiple countries working together to protect a large swath of ocean which falls outside any single nation's jurisdiction. In entertainment news, Copic can be a scary place, from the amusement park's disconcerting absence of visible safety measures to the rampant construction. But the island's most frightening feature may be the House of Horrors tucked away on its eastern bank. For just $2, thrill seekers can walk the winding passages of the Ghost House Copic, where spooky lights, eerie sounds, and the grasping hands of undead souls assail them from all sides. It's calculated to terrify, but only a little. The spooks inside are inspired by figures from Khmer folklore, though the team deliberately dialed down the realism. According to one of the members, they want to avoid the possibility that any customers mistake the actors for real ghosts. In the right setting, a patriotic song can be contentious. With their first full-length album called National Anthem, Phnom Penh-based progressive rock band Sangva Day at least proved that they are here to shake things up. The album was released Friday night with a show that kicks off a brief tour in the kingdom. The band is comprised of 3 European musicians and 1 American, and the songs are in English. The band has been working on the 10-song album for the last year, and they plan to release monthly music videos that show glimpses of Cambodia. One of the band members saying, a portrait of Phnom Penh that isn't touristic. The album is available for free online. Will and Grace could be returning to your TV soon. A source confirmed a new season for the Emmy-winning sitcom starring Deborah Messing, Eric McCormack, Megan Mullally, and Sean Hayes is in the works at NBC. There's a distinct international flavor to the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts Award nominees for 2016, with Mel Gibson's Hacksaw Ridge leading the pack with 13 nominations. 2 episodes of The Game of Thrones are vying with Gods of Egypt and X-Men Apocalypse for the Best Visual Effects or Animation Award, and Australian's foreign language Oscar entry, Tana, nominated in 3 categories. In addition, a number of previous Oscar winners and nominees have been nominated for their work on a variety of Australian productions released in 2016, including Leslie van der Walt, Lizzie Gardner, Marco Beltrami, and John Gilbert. This has been the Radio 1 News Update. Stay tuned for more news on Radio 1 FM 103.7.